The Light Between Oceanside and You, Part 1. The first time Emily Dawson saw Sofia cruise, the world didn't stand still, it caught fire. It was early summer in Oceanside, California. The Pacific hummed in lazy turquoise waves, and the wind played with the strands of Emily's tightly bound hair as she walked along the coast. She'd just finished presenting her firm's newest architectural design to a conservative investor board, and, as always, she'd worn a mask. The mask of a perfect daughter. A straight, ambitious professional. A woman with no messy truths tucked under her ribcage. Sofia, on the other hand, was color and chaos and truth. She stood barefoot on a blanket of shells, painting on a 6-foot canvas while her long brown curls danced in the wind. Her art was a storm of passion, vibrant hues crashing and blending in ways that made Emily's heart ache. They noticed each other. Emily with her cautious gaze and practiced posture. Sofia with her open smile and sun-kissed hands. "Hi," Sofia said, offering a brush like it was an invitation to a new life. "Want to ruin this masterpiece?" Emily hesitated. Then she dipped the brush in violet and made the first bold stroke across the canvas. They laughed. And something shifted. Over the next few weeks, they met again and again. At first by accident, then by design. Sofia introduced Emily to her circle of friends, all artists, musicians, and queers who lived with unapologetic freedom. Emily, in turn, invited Sofia to quiet dinners, city rooftop sunsets, and whispered conversations that spilled into the stars. And somewhere between Sofia's laughter and Emily's quiet admiration, love grew, tender, wild, unspoken. But Emily's world had rules. Her parents were wealthy donors to conservative political causes. Her firm had a don't ask, don't tell undercurrent. Being openly queer? That was a risk. A risk she'd never dared to take, until Sofia. One night, after a beach bonfire with Sofia's friends, they sat under the stars, legs touching. "I think I'm falling for you," Sofia whispered. Emily froze. Her heart screamed yes, but her lips stayed silent. "I can't be your secret," Sofia added gently. Emily looked away. "I'm not ready." Sofia smiled, heartbreak shining in her eyes. "Then I hope one day you will be. Because you deserve to love without fear." Days passed. Then weeks. Emily buried herself in work. Avoided texts. Watched the sun fall every evening and wished she had the courage to chase it. Sofia waited, then stopped waiting. She left Oceanside for San Francisco to work on a gallery installation. She didn't say goodbye. Emily broke that night. She stood before the mirror and wept for the girl she'd buried long ago, for the life she'd built on lies, for the love she had almost touched. And then, she packed her bags. She came out first to her best friend. Then to her brother. Finally, she sat across from her mother and father at Sunday dinner, heart hammering like thunder, and said, "I'm gay. I'm in love. Her name is Sofia." There was silence. Her father stood up and left. Her mother cried, not with joy. But Emily didn't run. For the first time, she stood tall in her truth. She moved to San Francisco. She found Sofia painting a mural on the wall of a youth center. "Sofia," she whispered. The artist turned. Her eyes were wary. "I'm not afraid anymore," Emily said, stepping forward. "If you still want me, I'm here." Sofia dropped the brush. She ran, not away, but into Emily's arms. And the kiss they shared was no secret. Part 2, Scars and Stars. The first few weeks in San Francisco were not a fairy tale. Sofia tried to protect her heart. Emily tried not to overstep. The love they rekindled burned bright, but it flickered with the slightest breeze of insecurity. Emily was learning to live out loud. Every handhold in public felt both liberating and terrifying. Sofia understood, but she also feared being someone's experiment. "I'm not your practice run," Sofia whispered one night when Emily hesitated before kissing her in a crowded bookstore. "You're not," Emily said softly. "You're my home." I'm just still learning how to walk through the front door. Sofia's eyes softened, and she kissed her anyway. They moved in together after 3 months. A loft above a jazz cafe with creaky wooden floors and a leaky window that let in moonlight like silk. They painted the walls themselves. Emily chose earth tones, Sofia splashed them with wild murals of hearts, stars, and fire. Their life became a dance of routines and surprises. Emily made Sunday pancakes. Sofia left love notes in Spanish under Emily's pillow. They had arguments about the future, money, Sofia's refusal to get health insurance, Emily's obsession with structure. But every fight ended with bare feet on cold floors, tearful apologies, and holding each other until the past melted. Then came the call. Emily's mother had cancer. The news hit like a wrecking ball. Emily flew home the next day. Sofia offered to come, but Emily said, "They're not ready for us." "I'm not sure I am." Sofia didn't argue. She just said, "Come back to me." Oceanside was the same, but Emily wasn't. At her mother's bedside, she saw a woman both frail and fierce. The same woman who once told her, "Girls don't marry girls. It's a phase." But that night, as Emily sat reading aloud, her mother opened her eyes and whispered, "Do you love her?" Emily froze. "Yes." Her mother closed her eyes, then opened them again. "Then bring her next time. If she makes you smile like you used to when you were 10, I want to meet her." Emily cried in that hospital room for everything they'd lost, and everything they still had time to reclaim. Sofia joined her in Oceanside a week later. She wore her heart on her sleeve and a nervous smile. Emily's mother shook her hand and said, "You paint the way my daughter speaks when she talks about you." It was awkward and fragile, but it was a beginning. Back in San Francisco, the gallery offered Sofia her first solo exhibit. Emily's firm offered her a partnership, on the condition she toned down her public persona. She declined. They kissed under the city lights that night. "You chose me," Sofia said. Emily nodded. "Every day. But happiness isn't a straight line." One morning, Sofia found a message on Emily's old email, a former flame, a woman Emily had dated secretly in college. "I miss what we had. Are you really happy?" Sofia didn't say anything at first. Then, over tea, she placed the printed email on the table. Emily's face drained of color. "I didn't respond," she said. Sofia nodded. "But you kept the message." Emily reached for her hand. "I kept it because I was afraid. That part of my life, it was all shame. I wasn't ready to show you how broken I used to be." Tears welled up in Sofia's eyes. "I don't want perfection, Emily. I want truth." Emily leaned in. "Then here's my truth, I love you more than I hate who I used to be." They made love that night like it was their first and last time. Every scar was kissed. Every fear, whispered into trust. A year passed. Sofia's exhibit went viral on social media, "The Light Between Us," an explosion of color telling their love story through paint. Emily opened her own small design studio, one that hired queer creatives, prioritized mental health, and hung Sofia's paintings on every wall. At their housewarming, surrounded by friends and laughter, Sofia pulled Emily onto the balcony. "I have a question," she said, pulling out a tiny canvas. On it was painted a simple gold ring. Emily's breath hitched. "I want to paint every wall with you. Build every morning with you. Grow old, messy, and unafraid, with you." Emily smiled through tears. "Yes," she said. "Yes, yes, yes." They kissed under the stars and fireworks from the street festival below. They didn't promise perfection. Only to keep choosing each other, no matter how rough the road. And sometimes, that's the truest kind of forever. Part 3, Always, Even After. The wedding was held on a cliffside in Big Sur, where ocean-kissed sky and pine trees stood like quiet witnesses. There were no pews, just driftwood benches and wildflowers in mason jars. Emily wore a soft ivory suit, custom-made, while Sofia chose a flowy gown embroidered with tiny brushstrokes of gold thread. They walked down the aisle hand in hand, barefoot. Emily's mother, now in remission, sat in the front row, holding a single sunflower. As they exchanged vows, their voices trembled, not from fear, but from awe. After all the secrets, all the almosts and heartbreaks, they stood together, completely seen. "I promise to love you," Emily said, in silence and in storms. "In the places we know, and those we have yet to find." Sofia touched her cheek. "And I promise," she replied, "to paint this life with you, even when the canvas feels dark." They kissed, and the crowd erupted in applause, but neither of them heard it. They were in their own world, and this time it was no longer a dream. But real life began after the honeymoon. They returned home to paint stains, bills, and the tangled balance of two artists with stubborn hearts. Sofia's success brought travel offers from Europe. Emily's design firm grew faster than she anticipated. They began missing each other, dinner skipped, phone calls answered late, goodnight kisses turned into sleepy murmurs. One night, Sofia returned from Berlin and found Emily asleep at her drafting table, surrounded by empty coffee mugs. She stood there, watching her for minutes, unsure whether she felt proud or forgotten. When Emily woke, she reached for Sofia instinctively, but her hands found air. "I feel like I'm losing you," Sofia whispered. Emily's shoulders slumped. "I'm scared too." They sat on the floor, between piles of drawings and half-packed suitcases. "I don't want us to become a story of what could have been," Sofia said. "We won't," Emily promised. "We'll rewrite it, as many times as we need to." They started a ritual. Every Sunday was theirs. No phones. No deadlines. Just the two of them, making breakfast, reading poetry, walking the coast. Sometimes they argued, sometimes they cried. But they always ended the day in each other's arms. The ritual saved them. 5 years later, Sofia opened her own art school for queer youth. Emily designed the building herself. On opening day, a young girl with rainbow braids approached them. "I want to love someone like you two do," she said. Sofia smiled. "You will. Just never settle for someone who asks you to be less." Emily added, "And never be afraid to fight for love worth keeping." They weren't perfect. They had setbacks. Misunderstandings. There were nights Emily slept on the couch. Days Sofia walked the city alone. But they always came back. Because love, real love, isn't about never falling. It's about choosing to rise, again and again, together. Years turned to decades. Gray crept into their hair. Laugh lines deepened. Their love, too, aged, like a melody growing richer with every note. On their 30th anniversary, they returned to Oceanside. They walked the shore barefoot, just like the day they met. Sofia reached into her pocket and pulled out a tiny seashell. "I found this our first week together," she said. "It reminded me that even something shaped by pressure and waves can still be beautiful." Emily took her hand. "Just like us." They kissed under the setting sun, two women, two souls, still choosing each other after all this time. And so, in a world that once told them you can't, they became a story that whispered back, "Watch us."